Let's try this again. I started recording this this episode of The Grind already. I was probably 10 minutes in. Ran out of disk space because I had accidentally set the wrong disk. Cat was making an incredible amount of noise and completely, utterly distracted me, and I lost my train of thought like 10 times. It was not worth keeping. And then, of course, in the middle of that, right as the message of, "Ooh, you ran out of disk space" happened, friggin' Ghast showed up out of nowhere, and I couldn't do anything to defend myself, so that was horrible. I was working on this. Now I'm on fire. It's hard, you know. Anyways, this is number 41, and today I thought I'd talk about Perl. Something I'm not good enough at, but it has been probably the longest experience I've had in the development world, which is not saying much. And my experience working has largely been in support of improvement of, development of a very proprietary network, or not network, but framework that only I in the entire universe know about. So I'm really good at that, but that does not translate well into other venues. Like if I were to at some point need to look for new work, that wouldn't really translate well. And the fun, but it also has, the situation's also sort of prioritize my time away from picking up the correct fundamentals. So I have so much learning to do for my own safety, really. Ow. And so, I've been involved lately with the local Perl community, which has helped a lot. I get a lot of... I want to go that way, don't I? I kind of forgot which way I was. I used up what, in the previous recording that is now gone, I used up a decent bit of, or about 4 stacks of lime green clay. Excuse me. I managed to connect it all the way out to my second portal, so things are progressing. Oh yeah, I wanted to go this way. And I wanted to get good feel for whether or not I should just make a sharp turn in this direction. And this goes right through the wall here. I've already done some of the carving work, so I ought to maintain that. So I guess I will. I'll do this right here. So Perl is a pretty good language. It's an interpreted language, which means it's a little on the slow side. All interpreted languages are, and some are much slower. For example, Ruby, which is very popular all of a sudden, much slower than Perl, like a factor of 4, I think. It's now, to an extent, these days, there's a lot of caching going on, basically where you stuff your data, or the data that is most needed at the moment, into memory, so that it's very quick to access, and basically any language can get that, frame it, send it out through the network to the machine that's calling. Very fast, doesn't matter. Your interpreted language is not going to be slow about that. Perl, however, is pretty good. There are, and it's very good at a few things like regex and there's a string manipulation, stuff like that. Which, frankly, pretty much all web application is string manipulation and templating and stuff like that. So it's actually a very fine language that has very few people involved in it right now. And that's both good and bad. It's good because it means... Okay. Didn't know she was going. Okay. So much for goofing off with her this afternoon. I'll do recordings of my other series then. Just because they have to be done sometime this weekend for this coming week. Might as well do it today. Then maybe I'll watch a new anime I'm going to try from the makers of Summer Wars, which was excellent, called Wolf Children. We'll see if that's any good. Oh, by the way, last night I saw Frozen with coworkers, and I know that sounds maybe strange, but it was actually an excellent movie. Very worth watching. It's a lot of Disney style, lots of singing. But they pulled it off, and the characters are all they're quite engaging. They all have a unique character. They're not shallow at all, which is pretty good. So, anyways, back to Perl. It's good and bad. Do I really have no room? I really have no room. Can I lose anything? I can eat something. I cannot. Well, it is netherrack. It's not like I'm ever going to run out of this stuff. Man, my poor picks are already half gone. Let's see. So, the good part is those people who out there who have legacy systems or are determined to work in Perl have to pay you more because you're hard to come by and somebody else already has you. So in order to lure you away, they've got to pay you a decent amount, which is kind of unfortunate because, like I said, there's enough holes in my knowledge, not even necessarily about Perl, but some of the expected patterns like search patterns and binary search tree patterns and just sorts and stuff, like things that somebody with a complete computer science degree that I didn't finish would have a better grasp of, and some of the fundamental maths. You know, you do kind of need to know that stuff, so I'm working on it. Though I am more project-oriented than theory-oriented, as, you know, for good and for ill. But the bad side, of course, is it's actually, if you want to pursue Perl, it's actually quite hard to find people who can help you out, especially if you can't afford much. So, you know, it's a trick. But one of the things we often talk about at these meetings is, you know, how can we get new people interested? And I came across projects. I'm right now sort of, I guess, no longer in official capacity. It was never in an official capacity, but the guy who was interested in me working on it doesn't have as much influence as I thought. So the Alexandria, Virginia sort of GIS, which is geographic information project for like the quality of life indicators and stuff. That project, you know, I'm tinkering with and evaluating things, and I've had to start with evaluating Python because Python is already, I mean, it's a fine language, but it's already well integrated with GIS kind of stuff. And apparently Perl is not so much. However, this one avenue I was studying in terms of converting shapefiles, which is available for free because we, the taxpayers, paid for it, GIS shapefiles into SVGs, which are common. It's a common format, like a scalable vector graphics is what it's called. A common format you find like on Wikipedia when they do maps and stuff. That's almost always SVGs. And SVGs are manipulatable, so, or you can export bits and pieces of them that then JavaScript can understand, and then write dynamic maps on the fly that can, you know, be interactive. You click on them, they do things, and that's largely what I'm looking to do, and I have some experience with already. And this one guy who worked on a means of converting shapefiles to SVG did so in Perl. So I was like, ooh. But then when I went to this past meetup, I think this week, my sense of time is obliterated. Let's see. So I go that way. Well, he's like, you know, if you're doing GS, just use Python. Which, for a Perl enthusiast, I thought was a bit of a terrible thing to say. Not really terrible, but it's like, okay, wait a minute. We want people to use Perl more, but we don't want to do the work necessary to do something that people actually want to do, like mapping, as, you know, make Perl a go-to place for that kind of stuff. So potentially what I might do with the Alexandria thing is use a good framework like Mojo or Mojolicious, pretty much the same thing, that is a Perl thing, which I need to learn more about, and begin it, and then extend it with what I'm hoping will be essentially... That's not right. I need to come down a little bit. Oh my man, look at that. Look at that. I'm not used to... Apparently I've ceased to be used to the idea of standard picks. I mean, look at this. It's already almost gone. Barely talked any at all. Any, whatever. And it's already almost gone. Wow. Wow. Such gone. Alright, I'll do this. Anyways. Not to, you know, finish the poor thing as we speak. But so I'm thinking, yeah, for the Alexandria thing, I might try setting it up with something like Mojo Light, which is very light, and light is something I'm going for because ultimately I want this project to be something that is easy to set up and hello, easy to set up, easy to configure, like, you know, because not every town is going to have exactly the same needs, so it'd be really nice if I could adjust it accordingly, like, and then have a really simple GIS system where the shapes are already available. You don't have to do, like, you're not searching for place points like you would on Google Earth, or Google Maps, that is, or Bing or whatever, but instead, it's already a well-established set of maps. You identify when you do the setup what area you want to show, like, is it a whole state or is it just a town? Do you need the nearby towns? Do you need the nearby states? Whole nation, globe, whatever. All these things are available. And the shape files are the shapes, not the shape files, because they're now distinct things. Would then be well integrated into whatever database system. It could be even something as simple as SQLite, maybe. So you don't have to have the really complicated and heavy GIS querying support that, you know, really intense mapping stuff require. And I really need to understand better. Cat, what are you doing? He's trying to crawl into my lap from underneath the table. So, oh my gosh. Oh me gosh. Me gosh. From, oh man, that was a guy right there. Me gosh, the Nelwind. Have you seen that movie? Okay. So, yeah. I mean, what am I talking about now? So yeah, I'm thinking just screw some of the already existing alternatives in terms of GIS because I don't want to go to the depth that they are because I don't need to. And anybody who wants to set up one of these things is not going to want to have to become a mapping expert. They want to be able to set it up and display data and have an interactive experience and be able to accept, in this case, community from the data so that their maps become even better than anything the census could provide, which is one of my goals for this whole project. So yeah, it's a good excuse to use Perl, and if it becomes a decent introductory level GIS kind of platform, then all of a sudden not only do more people have excuse or a reason to want to use Perl, but have one further barrier to entry removed between them and decent mapping technologies. So that's a thought process going in my head. I technically could do the back end in anything, including Python or JavaScript/Node. The front end is going to have JavaScript, so there's a temptation to just have, the whole thing be one language from top to bottom. But you can do anything in any of these languages. So, and Perl should not be discarded just because it's another one of them, especially when it's actually pretty decent. So that wasn't much of a topic, really, but that was what's on my mind. I think I don't know if you've noticed, but as of Friday, I changed the naming mechanisms for these grinds because you know, some of the topics like web dev has gone in 12 episodes, 11, 12 now, probably including this one. That doesn't tell you what it's about, and so I don't know. Maybe I expected this wouldn't be going on quite so long. I don't know what I was thinking, but be that as it may, I'm just going to start trying to fit the topic into 2 or 3 words title, so you have some idea what it is. And if you don't know that this topic is about web, then that's your own problem, not mine. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know at all. Doesn't matter anyways, right? Okay, so I think that's good enough for now. Thank you for watching. Please come again tomorrow for another topic. I'm thinking I'm also going to start talking less about things that freak me out, like the fact that people are really not participating in politics as much as they should. How is that even possible? I didn't know you could do that. And, or, you know, environmental stuff. What I'm going to try to do is talk about those things, but more or less in positive recent developments or purely educational stuff, like, you know, instead of saying, well, the hydrogen sulfide is probably going to, you know, cause human extinction in sometime in the next whatever years, just talk about what hydrogen sulfide is and let you make the connection. So you don't feel like I'm shoving it down your throat, and you can make your own decisions about it, because generally that's how people work anyways. I mean, I can mean as well as anything, and it is completely useless if no one pays attention or cares or listens. And in general, if people are threatened or if it feels like there's a tribal issue involved, unfortunately that sort of concept does exist, people shut it out. And, you know, with these kind of problems, what we need is the opposite. We need people not to shut this stuff out, because otherwise how can we solve anything, you know? So I'm going to fiddle with my attitude a little bit. And I'm also, you know, I don't know if you follow me around on the internet at all. You probably don't. But if you do, you'll find out that on Imgur and on Facebook, I tend to get into arguments with people, you know, well-meaning arguments. I almost never lash out at them or give them a hard time. I just, you know, 90% of the time, if I'm in an actual debate with someone, they're being actually really horrible and crude to me, and I do not give it back to them. I just keep reiterating or expanding upon information, and their response to this is generally more attacks. And, you know, that's pretty much the definition of trolldom, is when you're only there to argue and to insult. You can't offer any data of your own. These people never do. It's just rhetoric and, oh, it's common sense that, you know, as if they weren't just making themselves absolute proof that sense is anything but common. Look at me. I was just saying I wouldn't do this, and here I am doing it. All right, well, good enough. I've made some distinct progress on this. The connective tissue out that way is going to bend my brain just a little bit. Oh, crap. But there you have it. So come back again tomorrow, please. Thank you.